Welcome to a new segment called Rave Reviews. Continuing my trend of aiming to be a positive voice on YouTube, we'll be reviewing shows, manga, games, and one day Tepu specifically. For now though, thanks to my patrons for making these episodes possible, links below. Now then, I'm not a hardcore FNAF person, partially because I find most of the games to be like anxiety simulators, but I respect the design elements, the fandom, and the lore. I also enjoyed Security Breach despite some of its faults. With that in mind, know that Ruin improves on everything Security Breach did and made it look easy, so I'll be comparing and contrasting several key elements to highlight the positives. Environment. The Pizzaplex is awesome in both incarnations. However, a weakness in the original game was that it involved a lot of back and forth trekking with nothing but security droids to break up the monotony, and they were more like busy work than a real threat. It can generate some scares, but as far as locales go, it's a place I'd love to visit and explore when it's fully operational more than experiences our game. In contrast, Ruin focuses everything down by making each zone a semi-closed off system with no real backtracking. The disgusting claustrophobic environments are also excellent for generating tension, and the virtual world is a technicolor wonder to explore, though it may be bad for some people's eyes. Threat level. As noted, the security bots used to be more of a nuisance than a threat unless things had already gone pear-shaped. The Ruin animatronics and exo-threats are, in some ways, less dangerous because of the more scripted and structured nature of the game versus the free roaming. However, when it comes to generating tension, this sense of structure that comes with the closed levels is really helpful and works better for storytelling overall. There's also a greater sense of puzzling out how to deal with them, which is a bit absent when you realize you can just laser beam them. Not that that wasn't fun. Characters. Now, I don't dislike Gregory, nor do I think he cut the lift. However, he definitely works better as a secondary character than a primary one, I think. This is because, unlike the ciphers from previous games, we saw Gregory and got a sense of his personality. But we never got any real context as to how he was there, why he knew Vanessa was a threat, or was so calm mutilating the animatronics. These elements work fine, however, when he's a mysterious secondary character. What's more, Cassie avoids the above pitfalls because while we definitely have some questions, we've got a very clear through line for her. She was called to a specific location by a friend, a weird meeting place turned into exploration that turned into being isolated as the situation evolved into a rescue mission, steadily growing more and more dangerous and overwhelming. She's definitely handling this better than I would, but you still get a sense of how increasingly overwhelmed and desperate she becomes as the story goes on, and we know exactly what's motivating her. Thus, any mysteries raise intrigue rather than create confusion. Story and endings. Story-wise, all of the above elements come together to make a much more structured playthrough with tailor-made scares and threats and a clearer narrative through line from beginning to end. And speaking of endings, Security Breach had a lot of endings, but that often left one curious about stuff like Vanessa and Vanny, and the time spent developing them created a less cohesive game experience. Ruin has 3 endings, a happy ending, a bad ending, and a neutral ending. I actually think the happy ending is the weak link, as if the scooper was always an option, why didn't Gregory and Vanessa try to scoop the mimic before now? However, the bad and neutral endings are very solid. The bad or Brazil ending happening when Cassie takes a wrong turn and can no longer escape, leading Helpy to comfort her with a pleasant delusion before she dies. It's incredibly haunting. Meanwhile, the elevator crash ending leaves things open for a continuing story while still being conclusive in a suitably heavy way. All in all, Ruin is a fantastic game and I'd recommend it. Trivia. I feel bad for Chica and especially Monty. I like the guy and I hope he makes a comeback. I really liked what they did with Roxanne, though this does leave me wondering if Gregory and Vanessa chose not to try and fix what was influencing the other animatronics, or if they couldn't do anything about it. One of these answers is much grimmer than the other. I do get the sense that we're missing an ending given we repaired Chica's voice box, saw Monty's legs and Roxy's eyes come up, especially with Eclipse in mind. It feels like we had a fix animatronics ending that was being set up, but critiquing a game for what it's not feels unfair. I love the world building with the augmented reality. FNAF is already an urban fantasy low-key sci-fi with ghosts in a machine, so it makes tons of sense that this can be taken further and the line between the worlds of the living and the dead be blurred. I hope they expand on this. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to support my work or commission 3D art, please check out my Patreon and Ko-fi respectively. And thanks for stopping by.